Live on Instagram today too?
That's the game plan. I know we're live for the people that's out here. We're in it, and it looks like we're live on Instagram as well. So for the so
We're live now. Hey, the Etch a Sketch is back, man. I know you took a week off. Did you take a week off to fix your internet?
actually, believe it or not, Comcast had came through and fixed my internet. So that's what's been going on for the last. I ain't gonna say for the last 2 weeks, but 2 weeks ago my internet sucked, and this week it's probably a whole lot better. But thank God Xfinity got it fixed. So how about that?
Well, I'm glad to have you back. I'm glad we're actually able to hear you.
Yeah.
Other fans weren't as happy to hear me as much and see me and not see you. I know you were a little pixelated in and out, which was weird, right?
Yeah.
So every week we say show up 15 minutes early, troubleshoot, right? And
Yep.
you didn't even listen to your own words. There
I
goes Joe.
actually, I actually do those things, but I'd be more concerned about everybody else more so than myself because I'm always usually good. But in this case, I'm not good. So I know I appreciate everybody chiming in to chime in for the show. I know. Let's see, we got Joel. He actually hit me up on Instagram asking if the show was going on this weekend. I appreciate you for stopping by, Joel. Shout out to Joel. Shout out to everybody actually on Instagram as well. We got 9 people and counting jumping into the chat. And I think we got a very special guest this weekend. You know this guy. He's been on here, what, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
And in 2 years, this guy's gotten bigger, didn't he?
I think a whole lot bigger. I was giving him a little bit of kudos before the show, and I don't want to give too much of it away, but I see Mike Baker diamonds all over the place,
Yeah,
right? And I'm definitely glad to have him back because so much has changed,
yeah.
and we have a lot of questions. So why not bring him back on, ask the GOAT himself, and then definitely push it forward.
Yep. So for the people that are actually watching today, we have a couple of different topics we're going to be talking about. Of course, we're going to be talking about last week's altercation with the football player Evan Mathis and them trimming cards. We're going to talk about the future of what grading actually look like. We're actually going to answer a few questions for you guys. We're going to talk about sports and whatever else you guys want to talk about. So we appreciate you jumping in and you ready to start the show?
Yeah, let's go hit it.
Let's go. Man, so backstory is real quick. First of all, thank everybody for watching and chiming in and listening to the show. Man, let's backpedal just a little bit. It's been almost 3 years since we've done this show.
Since we did what show? Since we started the show,
I
or
want to
since we
say,
had Mike Baker on the show?
I want to say, well, he says it's been 2 years just for him.
Yeah,
So if it's been 2 years for him, I felt like was he one of the first people
yeah,
we brought on the show? So
he
it's only
was.
been 2 years.
Yeah.
Dang, maybe I'm just old, man. I can't even keep up. But
Well, I can't. I'm not going to disagree with you there, but I think we took the little break, so it makes it feel a little extended
yeah,
than what it probably actually is.
yeah.
So I think I mean here we are.
Yeah, I know it's always refreshing to be able to educate people on what's going on in a hobby and give our little 2 cents. I mean, a lot of times, I guess, I don't realize how much my opinion matters to certain people. So I appreciate you guys for valuing my opinion. I just try to do the best I can. But I do a lot of due diligence, man. I do a lot of research and I really study what the heck is going on in this market. But without further ado, I'd like to go ahead and bring on somebody very special to us, and that's Mike Baker. What's going on, brother?
How's it going? Great to be back.
Yes, it is good to be back. I know. Let's see if we can get you centered in well. Let me see. Yeah, there we go. The people want to see your beautiful face, man. So first of all, I want to say thank you for joining the show and talking to us about what's been going on with Mike Baker and what you've been up to lately.
Well, dating back from the last time I was on the show quite a bit, a couple of years, as we were talking before the show got going.
Yeah.
Last summer, we partnered with PWCC to provide an authentication only product, and that got launched last fall, and it's been doing really well. We've done almost over 60,000 units so far. So onward and upward.
Well, congratulations. I know for a minute I haven't seen you in a while, and I think that it's important to hear about your story because we always talk about these new businesses coming into this space, and I think a lot of people, we lost a lot of people in the in these last few months to the last year with these new businesses coming in the hobby. So it's good to be able to see you still finding a way to keep going and staying relevant in our space, which again, I know I've had conversations with you in the past and I told you how important I felt like you were to this space, whether people realize it or not. So I know the first time I met you in Chantilly, Virginia, I said, man, I'm going to try this service out. And, people gave me flack and was like, why would you do that? Like, why would you regrade a card? And I'm like, well, look, believe it or not, it really only applies for vintage. It started out with vintage, in my opinion, where a PSA 4 is not the same PSA 4 for another vintage card. Yep. There are certain things that look more appealing than others, and people pay a premium for that. So I think it's important for you, and I don't know how you feel about it, but I guess you could tell us a little bit more of a backstory of what led you to even doing this anyway. I know I said a lot in the whole little spew, but
Yeah, you talk a lot, man. The Etch a Sketch is back, and he's not all over the place.
Back, baby, you're back.
I think there's always been a need to highlight great cards within the grade. I mean, it started with the half grades when, back when PSA changed it to half grade to really highlight what they could with that. And then their 10 being a gem mint, and then pristine with Beckett and SGC, and kind of taking it to another level. And I think this really just helped highlight, especially with PSA, because there's a lot of cards that were already in population before the half grade came out. So adding a silver, gold, or black diamond for 10s really helped kind of delineate, wow, that's a really, great looking, centered, not only on the front, but the back as well. Just a premium example of the card. And I think, cards like that have always sold for a little bit more money before this concept hit the market. So this kind of just, solidified with, every card that comes into MBA gets, a front and back scan. It gets into the database. There's a population report showing silver, gold, and blacks for that particular card within that particular grade. So, and we've done over 100,000 units. So, it works, and the premiums have come to place after almost 3 years being in business doing it. So, it's been fun watching it grow.
All right, so hold on, real quick, Mark. I'm sorry.
I wish you had connection issues again, man.
Look, you talked enough for us 2 weeks ago. You talked enough for both of us 2 weeks ago. So look, today I'm going to talk. So before we talk about what MBA services offer in those premiums, right? I want to let's backtrack a little bit because I asked you about the start of MBA and how you guys started. Who's this guy here? Who's that guy to the left of you?
That's my business partner, Damian Warner.
All right. So when did you guys buy? Is this you again?
Yep.
Are you again? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That's awesome. But let's talk to us about Damian and talk to us about, because I actually, what's funny is I text him and I felt bad because I texted him and I was like, man, I've never had Damian on the show. And I was like, I'm already having Mike on there twice. So let me I got you up next. Third time is definitely going to be Damian. But talk to us about Damian and your relationship, because another thing in business is, I want to know how you guys started. Your relationship, and then talk about the importance of finding the right partner with business. Oh, wow. And then Mark, you got it.
That's quite a bit right there. Well, he was a former Navy SEAL, and I would see him as a former card dealer at shows. And I always, during all that was going on back in the Middle East and Afghanistan, whatever, I was always kind of keeping in tune with what he was doing. And when he was deployed, I remember him, giving me a call on that phone to, see how things are going and trying to keep the pulse of the market, from different shows and whatnot. He's an avid collector. He actually, his start was, running card shows when I think he was a teenager, like at 14, 15 years old. So he's always had his foot in this door, and he's got a breadth of knowledge. He's a really good, he's got a sound mind, both business and tinkering, trying to figure out processes, and has really streamlined MBA to make it what it is today. And we've had this idea with MBA diamonds for a long time. And we always thought this is a high end, 9, or, it's a higher end example, and he was always into trying to find cards that had, a little something better with it, better centering on the back. It's kind of a big deal. And we're able to put those two things together over the years, and go into how important it is. And we have the same birthday, so we're both Aries, we're both strong-minded, strong-willed, and 5 years apart. And we both have our strengths and we both have our weaknesses. I'm sure he would probably say he has fewer weaknesses than I do, but it works. We've everything. Every partnership goes back and forth. It gets heated sometimes, but it hasn't gotten in a long time like that, because all those kind of things get worked out in the early stages of trying to figure out whether or not this relationship is something that's going to last. And I can tell you, I feel like I'm an uncle to his three kids, a sister to his wife, or a brother to his wife, the whole bit. And, it's a good family thing on and off the court, so to speak.
I
So,
didn't see your long hair under there, man. So I
yeah,
was gonna
right.
ask.
It's short.
Hey, and I get a chance to say something. So you said it earlier. It's been 2 years, so since we last had you, and so much has happened. So definitely want to give you your flowers, right? And tell you congrats on the success. And really excited where NBA is gonna go from even today. We've already seen where it's gone in the last 2 years, and I was talking to you about one of the neat features. I think you have a partnership with PWCC. I think you mentioned it. And some of the things that I saw was you put that you had if you authenticate a card on their auction, some of the stuff that you see is that scans of it front and back, a full like 360 panoramic that you can kind of flip the card around. So I think that that's a really cool addition to their auctions, and more so to your brand, to be able to highlight a card in that way. And of course, if I click on a non NBA item, you don't get the same effect. And I think that because of that, there might be some premiums. And I think, Ralph, you kind of showed me a couple examples, and I guess you're going to share them a little later on, but on how much better your cards do. And I'm talking about the ones that you diamond or authenticate, how much the better they do as opposed to the non-diamond version. So, and I think some of it is kind of that. But obviously your reputation that you've grown over the last 2-3 years, also has an influence on that as well.
Yeah,
Well,
just so you know, the examples that we actually used, Mike, was actually in January of this current year, January 19th on PWCC, a PSA 10 top LeBron James refractor sold for $33,600 in a down market. Right, a month later, NBA silver PSA 10 refractor did 38,400. And what's funny about that is in a down market with the NBA sticker, it actually still managed to hold a little bit more value there. Can you talk to us about a little bit more about some of the value that you guys have seen? Because I'm sure with PWCC, they've noticed it as well, to where you guys have commanded a premium on that value. Can you talk to us about that?
yeah. One of the things when the market was hot, it was going to do whatever it did. And Damien and I always felt the real test was going to be when the market would recorrect, and how those cards, we kind of thought it would add a parachute to the card instead of a drastic fall with the card, because that card with the sticker was something that people were willing to pay a little bit more money for in the first place. So the investment part of that would be there, and hopefully the premium would stay to some degree when the market did correct. I think we've seen examples over the last 6 months. Even when it was a little bit better at the national going into the first quarter of this year, and the premiums. And we had a 89 or 89 upper deck Ken Griffey Jr. card that went off for a little under $5,000 as a black diamond, which was just, we were really happy about that.
That's
Wow.
phenomenal.
Those kind of examples, it's not on everything. So, but if you're going to stay in the market, you're going to invest in the market, you're going to collect, trade, whatever, I would definitely look at cards that have something better than the other ones that don't, because, don't just, they always say, don't buy the grade, buy the card. And if you can buy the card with the grade, with the diamond, I think you got the trifecta.
Yeah, I think that's very important what you're saying. And I know we talked in the past a couple of days ago. I told you when you guys come to Dallas next week, I have a few cards for you. And let's talk about this a little bit. Like I have a PSA 3 Jackie Robinson. Is it three? It's either a 3 or a 4. I
That
can't
was a
remember.
four.
Is it 4? So it's a PSA 4. I don't remember what I have. It's a PSA 4 Jackie Robinson. And to me, I seen a PSA 6, and I felt like it looked just as good as a PSA 6. So, like, the gamble is, yes, I can crack the card and regrade to a PSA, but when you're dealing with certain cards, it's really hard to try to do something like that. It's very much a gamble. If anything doesn't go your way, it can go backwards. It can go, it can get worse just as bad as it can get, better.
Yep.
So I think in a situation like that, I would use you guys, your services, and say, hey, look, I think this visually looks a lot better than typically a PSA 4. I have a Wilt Chamberlain as a PSA 4 as well. I felt like it's a very nice looking PSA 4 for Wilt Chamberlain. And so because of that, I feel like you can command more, especially when you're dealing with vintage, because I'm starting to get into that world to where if it visually looks good, it's going to automatically cost more money. You can't really necessarily go off of what the last comp sold for. You have to kind of pay a premium for it. You're paying for that appeal, and I guess tell us about what you think about that.
Well, I hit it on the head. If you have an off center or still within the standard 6, but it's not centered, and then you have a centered 3 or a 4, like you said. I mean, a lot of people would probably defer back to the better looking card, as opposed to the grade. And, with that better looking centering on it, the better looking appeal, I mean, it has some, no print effect. It's got the color just pops, and it has a sticker on top of it. I think you're not going to get 6 money, but you'll definitely get strong 4+ money, or hope 2, which.
Well, we've definitely seen that even in some of the auctions, like you said. You mentioned the King Griffey Jr. We just showed reference to the LeBron James Topps Chrome Refractor. And in a minute, I'm actually going to talk to you about something else that you guys offer, which is your MBA authentication.
Mm-hmm.
I actually showed an example here, May 9th, MBA. I was trying to find a sale of what a Jordan sticker would sell for a raw, but I'm assuming it's probably a little bit less than what the authentication would be. Have you guys noticed a difference between having authentication versus having a raw card, or what led you guys to even doing that?
Was just trying to, there's with the market where it's at too, with, this incorrection, the market's always been in a place where like lower value cards have always been collectible. It doesn't have to be an 8 or a 9 or a 10 for people to play. And the grading services charged a good chunk of change, when the market was hot, and everyone paid up for it. And I think what we tried to do with this concept was create a low fee, great product without a grade. This is not so basically all it's happening is it's being authenticated and ensuring that the card hasn't been trimmed or altered. And we also provide a heat map, which highlights the card digitally. So you get to go on with our QR code and see where the problems of the card lie. So if you have a scratch on the surface, a chip on the edge, a corner hit, a crease, wax stain on the back or front, it gets highlighted. So you can then interpret what you're going to be buying. So a card that doesn't have a heat map generally is probably 8 or better. So you can kind of determine, then you obviously have to look at the centering for front and back to kind of see if that would fit with whatever grading standard you wanted to submit it to. But for $6,
and I thought that was pretty neat too. Now I don't know if Mike Tyson was beating him up, and there was a portrait of where he was hitting him in the ribs or the headshot, but I think it's pretty cool. Now, is that only on PWCC cards, or is that also in your database too?
It's in our database too. So
okay.
Once you have the product back, you can scan the QR code on the back on the flip, and then it'll pull you to a landing page so you can see, where the issues of the card lie relative to the map.
Wow. And is that only on the authenticated cards, or is that also on the graded cards with the sticker on them too?
No, just on the authenticated product.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So specifically for raw cards, then is more what that is geared towards.
Yes, it's all currently. Yes. Yeah.
All right. So for the record, for the people that are watching, you actually can sign up for MBA Diamonds services separately from PWCC, but they do. I don't know if it's an exclusivity where you're working with PWCC exclusively, or is it?
It is. So basically, for the diamond service, you can use MBA. For anything with the authentication, the raw card, the RCI is what we call it, raw card ingestion. You'd have to go through PWCC for that.
Okay.
Because where they do all the videoing and the pictures and the annotating, and then it comes to us. We do our part, and then we give it back to them, and then that's where it goes either into your vault, onto a weekly auction, or back to you.
Yeah.
Mm.
What the thing that I like the most about your services is that it's all human based, right? I think with the AI technology that a lot of the big grading companies are using today, it takes away that feature, right? That hold of the card and being able to look at the angles and being able to kind of make a diagnostic right approach of it from a human touch. And I think that what you offer is more line of what the earlier stages of grading used to be before they came to this real fluctuation. I mean, now it's hard to get a 10 through PSA and you see a lot more nines, but I do like the human aspect of your grading service.
Mm.
Yeah, we're using the human aspect with some great technological advances like the heat map. I mean,
Yeah.
you hear a lot people going, "Why did I get? Why did this card grade an 8? Why did it grade? Whatever." At least this is a great way for you to go onto your account and look and view where the card are, where they lie, so you can get it back and like, I didn't see that, or now I get it, or it helps you get it more basically. So.
All right, so a couple other topics we're going to talk about in reference to grading cards. But before we talk a lot, I don't know, we'll probably talk about the future of grading in a minute. But
I
before,
did want to ask him though,
go ahead.
because he's come so long since we first talked to him.
Yeah.
Now to your database, you said that there's a way to go back and look at pop reports and things like that. What is the Black Diamond count up to today?
Good question.
That's
I
good.
don't know. I can tell you it's not a lot, and that's why they sell for a lot of money. The grading service is doing their job. Beckett, PSA, SGC, CSG, putting cards like that where they would be in a conversation to Black Diamond, and once they receive it, that's a card that is awesome.
Come
For
on, man. We're gonna have to go on
Sure.
your website and take a look. I mean,
yeah.
is there an easier way to kind of look to see what that pop looks like on Black Diamonds?
For individual cards,
Yeah.
yes, you could enter in for the individual card for a total count. I'm not sure that it has a total count, but I have to figure out. That wouldn't be hard to figure out, but off the top of my head, I don't know it.
Mm. Well, what's good about the Black Diamond is my old party partner Charlie. He actually got a Black Diamond on a Damian Lillard Prism base rookie. It was actually a BGS 10,
Yeah.
and with the Black Diamond, it crossed over to a black label.
Yeah.
So it works, obviously. And I mean, for the people out there who are paying attention, I wouldn't use the services if I didn't believe in it. And obviously, it works. And that's basically what we're kind of showing you guys. All right, so for the next topic, we're going to keep it along the lines of grading cards. And we want to talk about last week, Evan Mathis going on social media last week and doing a step-by-step of how to trim cards and how to alter cards. How do you like? I guess we'll let Mike speak, and I guess I'll let Mark. Mark, you go first, and I'll let Mike go out because I know Mike says he wants to kind of let him lead into this. So let's see what you think, Mark. How do you feel about it?
Um, well, I mean, look, I guess there's different layers of altering cards, right? Obviously, some people think that if you touch a card or look at a card the wrong way, it's considered altering, right?
Mm-hmm.
To me personally, being a PSA submitter myself or a dealer, to me, a simple wipe to get the handprints off. I mean, to me, that's okay, right? To me, right? I think when you start introducing any kind of foreign substance or you start to maybe massage the corners a little bit, now you're in that realm of altering a card, right? But and I mean, there's another side, there's another approach to that. I mean, a lot of people look at the hobby now as works of art, right? And you always see people who refurbish paintings, like old paintings.
Yep.
So why is it not okay to have that similar approach when you take a painting and you restore it and it becomes more valuable? Why can't you do that with the trading card, right? And I guess there's some old heads, right? Like in baseball, you got the old guys that are stick to the rules, don't cross over the infield or whatever. You had the old unwritten rules, and I think it's a lot of that, right? But here we are, right? Some people are with it, some people are against it. Like I said, I'm okay with a nice little wipe. Anything more than that, I mean, like I said, it's to each their own.
Yeah, to jump in, I say that there's wiping services literally at card shows in front of grading services, in front of people. So I think if that was a big deal, that would have already been, at the top of the list.
Right.
Putting a card into an old school screw down with the 4 screws. When you have frictional corner wear on a corner, and it's got like a little lip or like a little something that came from the pack or just from like putting in a card sleeve, and it goes into a screw down, all that could be gone. So there's no grader in the world that's going to pick that kind of stuff off. I think what we have to remember is that the grading services, the reputable ones, have standards, and the standard, they need to just try to be as consistent as possible. It's subjective as it is, and you try to apply that standard, to ensure that the card measures. There's no inward outward dives. It's not paper thin at the end of a corner where someone was trying to press out a crease, and that's definitely get into the realm of altering cards. That's going to get hit in terms of not being graded. Back in the day, it was graded. It was just downgraded. So that even got tightened up. So the grading, it's evolved. Flat out trimming, it's not going to make it. If the card doesn't measure and there's a wavy edge or outward dive on the corner or something, it's going to get kicked. Most likely, if it's expensive, I'm sure some people would like it in an authenticated only product or only holder. So, but yeah, adding color, adding stock, that's alteration. Why it's not like comic books, I don't know. It's the way it's always been, and so just try to stay in your lane and try to be better than someone who's doing something that's trying to break the system, basically.
But the only thing I have a problem with, and of course I sub a ton of cards and I've gotten stuff kicked, right? Obviously it came to me like most of the stuff, and you'll see the discoloration or you'll see minimum size requirement, right?
Yep.
And it's interesting though, like cards out of packs, right? I had a Bowman, a Julio Rodriguez Bowman Chrome Auto that's like a Gem Mint Plus Plus. It has 2 10s on it. So I send it in to be crossed over, and you would think that that's a simple cross, right? But it got kicked because of a min size requirement. And I remember had a Yuli Gurriel auto that came out of a pack, and it got kicked again, minimum size requirement. So it's like, if it's coming out of a pack, right, straight out of a pack, why would that happen? And I mean, I scratched my head about it, but I guess they're trying to dissuade people from trimming cards or making sure that they don't grade those cards.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is the graders don't know that you pulled out of the pack. Even though we know you're a stand-up guy, pulling out of the pack, coming now, doing it, and then it's videoed and logged and all that stuff. Maybe it goes and maybe it has a chance, but as an overall standard, and I don't speak for the grading services. I know they all have what they will accept and what they don't. If the card is min size, it's because it's definitely exceeds the tolerance allowed by that particular grading service with the standard that they have. So, and it's honestly, it's just an easy way to stop the headache. It's an easier headache for the grading services to accept just kicking it back to you as min size with you scratching your head than it is to start opening the lineup, because there's a card within that pack that came from a pack that's minimum size, and then you start altering the line within the standard to kind of say, oh, well, if it's like this, we can, kind of, if for every oversized card there's an undersized card. It's that kind of premise, so you have to, draw a line in the sand at some place and then try to stick to that and then go forward.
Yeah, 100%. So I guess last week I made a comment on that post, on Evan Mathis' post, and I said legendary. And I got kind of chewed out on social media for saying legendary, because a lot of people say, well, what do you mean is legendary? And my 2 cents was it because I felt like, the trimming and altering world was kind of like frowned upon amongst everybody, amongst our peers, right? And I felt like for someone of, I ain't gonna say of his status, but somebody of his status to literally put a video together and take the time and do what he did and post it on social media, I felt like that was legendary. I felt like that was like a, dang, I can't believe he did that.
Yeah, it's a pretty ballsy move.
Yeah, it was a pretty ballsy move. So to me, that's how I looked at it. And I did make a couple comments to people out there. It was like, hey, I felt like, he was educating people, because I think that, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. For a very long time, I was scared to buy any vintage card that was
Yeah.
not slabbed at all. And I think that people have to understand you have to take the good with the bad, right? And I think the more knowledge that you have, the better decisions we make as a collector, as a people, right? And I think that us being able to understand what trimming and altering looks like helps us make those better decisions in the future. Because if you see something out in the open and you like, this looks like it's been trimmed. Because hey, I don't, you know how it is, Mike. You're not at every single show, so unfortunately, I can't say, hey, Mike, I need you to authenticate this card for me real quick. I'm gonna send you a picture. You're gonna be like, well, I can't really authenticate it over the phone, but if you buy it, it doesn't work out, you can just refund them. But unfortunately, like we don't get that luxury. So I feel like the more education that we can have as a consumer, I think the better. So I felt like my comment was really purely that aspect of it. But unfortunately, like I got backlash pretty bad about it. So shout out to those people that backlash me pretty bad. But unfortunately, I feel like I represent the newer hobby. I feel like I'm open. I always try to stay open. You know what I mean? Like I give people a chance to say how they felt and what led them to do certain things, and before I make my judgment, right? And I think that that's important. I think a lot of people in this space are bullies, and I think that we kind of have to kind of fall back from being so aggressive to people because we are individuals and we all raised differently. We all come from different backgrounds, and I think that's important. So,
Well, look what happened to BGS when they tried to come out with the new Gym Mint, right? They got bullied into retracting that, which, I mean, they should have probably asked the questions before they wrote it out anyway, right? I don't know what their sample size is, but I mean, like you said, it can be pretty bullish. And you know what? People, I mean, they could have been naive to the fact that that stuff happens, right?
yeah,
And for him to come out and give that tutorial on how to do it. Now, not everyone can do that, right? Like
yeah.
that right there. I don't know if somebody went home and tried to, do it on a card that they really
Of
didn't
course
care about.
they did, man. Are you serious? Of course
But
they did.
but I mean, what he did, it's not easy, right? But it'd be interesting to see how many of those Evan Mathis touch cards are in the universe at this time.
Well, that leads us to our next statement, which our next topic that I actually wanted to talk about was what does the future of grading look like? And I think with talking about the fact that we have altering and trimming and NBA Diamonds offering new services, I mean, I want to know what, like, we've had in the last month Beckett suggestively decide to potentially do BGS 10s for anything that's men gym, was true gymming up to Gym Men Plus and up. And then PSA, they're offering new technology and services. I'm sure there's other people that are out there that are doing their thing. SGC, CGC, they're all doing their thing. And shout out to some of these companies who are really doing a really good job. And I think that that's, unfortunately, like they don't get as much love as they probably should. SGC is probably really effective at getting their product out there really fast. And I think that's why they're closing ground on Beckett. And I just want to get y'all topic. I don't want to talk too much. I want to hear how y'all think before I kind of jump the gun too much. How do you feel about this, Mike? What's going on?
That was a lot right there. Where do I
I
start?
know that's why I had to stop. Because there's so much I can say, but I want to kind of.
Hey, Mike, he's operating on withdrawal, right? I don't know if you
2
tuned
weeks,
in
man.
last time, 2 weeks ago,
2
but
weeks
he was
ago.
literally like in and out, in and out. He was like my 16-year-old learning how to drive on the brake. So he was constantly in and out, and he looked like an Etch-a-Sketch. I forget who called him out on it, man, but it was funny. So he's doing all the talking today. But I'll go ahead and pause there and let you go, Mike.
No, I was. Hey, when the market's hot, you don't have to do a lot. The market's just it's roaring. People are submitting. People are buying, selling, trading, the whole bit. And so a lot of the innovation was almost all the grading services were in survival mode. Just to try to keep up with the demand. And I think now the demand is kind of relaxed a little bit, and the market constricted a little bit. Now they're coming up with different ways. Different innovations or whatever to kind of keep that energy going. And who knows if the days of 1 million cards or 5 million cards a month, whatever the number is, come back or not. But making the user experience today be more effective because they have more time to put some energy on how to improve that. So I think if there's a good thing about the market kind of adjusting, it's that, they have to be relevant, they have to stay relevant. To stay relevant, you have to come up with new things to keep the eyes and ears, compelled. So I think that's good. I think the AI assisted stuff, I think it does have a place. I don't know to what degree. Um, I think some of the things it can help with are pretty cool. I think AI grading all by itself, I think we're not there yet.
No.
I think there has to be a human
I agree.
and looking and touching, and I mean, just touching a card, you can determine, if you know what you're doing, whether the card's real or not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a robot doing that anytime soon. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but
Good point.
I'd like to, from my job's perspective, I'd like to say that it's human only.
Right.
But I'm all in favor of having technology help and get it, make it a better thing. So I'm good with all that. Um, Going to the trimming and altering, and that, it's always been around. When back in the early '90s, it was Sports Collectors Digest, a big thick newspaper type magazine, and you'd wait weekly to find out what's going on, and read whatever articles they're producing, and check out the classified ads in the back. There was no phones, there was no email, there was no like instant 24-hour, Roth's going to get tagged for saying legendary. It's just more. And I think it's just evolved with the marketplace. There's more information out there. You've got some great guys out there, in chat rooms and groups that are, you know, uh, learning how to identify TCG, MTG, Pokemon, all this stuff, all these nuances, which, that's a huge segment of the market too. And it's trying to stay in front of all that as a grader, as a grading service, you have to really download a lot of stuff. And, kudos to those guys out there. They're really specializing in those areas. It helps.
Man, I've never seen so many black labels on any card outside of TCG. It's like everybody that submits a Pokemon card or Dragon Ball Z card is getting a freaking black label. I'm like, dude, I've never gotten a black label ever in my life that I personally submitted. And it's like these cards, these manufacturers of these cards got something right, and they actually pack really high quality cards, which is unbelievable. In regards to the future of the hobby, I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of people say all the time, if PSA put subgrades on their cards, that it would kind of do away with a lot of the other grading companies. I think that's what really holds, in my opinion, Beckett to the esteem that it's at, is because you can actually see what they thought about each of the four different aspects of grading. Corners, edges, surface, and centering. To be honest with you, if PSA, they don't really have to change up the label, I think, because then they have to change up the whole encapsulation of the card. But maybe, right, if they already put QR codes on the card, but maybe if they put the subs on their website and drove traffic to their website, where people can actually see the subgrades, I think it would kill I would think it would kill all the other grading companies, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think we just lost Mike Baker there. I think he just chimed in. Hold on one second. I'm going to see if Mike's back. What's going on, Mike? You there?
Yep.
All right, cool. So, yeah, I 100% agree with what you said, Mark. I've always said it before in the past. If Beckett actually listens to me, focus on the importance of education and why it's important to know what the subs are, because that's what made you your company. Your company. I feel like going against that and adding something 20 years later, I think is not important as focus on the education of it and talk about why it's important, and then from there streamline the technology that you're missing. You know, which PSA just did the simple. Now you get to see your card spin online, and now you can automatically send it to your Instagram, which is cool from the aesthetic part of it, right? Because now it's branding, right? It's all good. But I think Beckett is really missing, and I think they just lost the guy who was running it for a while, not Jeremy, but the other guy. I guess I don't know if he was the CEO of Beckett. Yeah, so I think he stepped down recently. I don't know if they have any head yet, but hopefully they hire me and I can just solve all the problems for them. I'm just kidding, because I actually love Beckett, though. For the record, I actually do love Beckett. I actually think they have really good. They have some good.
And I gave a gem for PSA, but a gem for BGS would to start to introduce the scanned images into their database as well. The one thing that I like about their database more than a lot of the other ones, and I haven't been to MBAs yet, so I can't talk too much on them, but I do plan on doing that either today or tomorrow to look at the black label, the black diamond head count. But they already introduced when the card was graded, which is amazing, right? You can see all the subs. When you go and look for the pop report on a specific card, if you click on it, you can see the subs. On PSA, you just see the counts per different grade. So you can see within that population what the cards are and then the scans to be attached. So still some room for improvement. Obviously, I can give out gems for, as a consumer to each and every one of them. And PSA and BGS to me are at the top of the top of the list in regards to grading for me. But those are some of the things that I would like to see in the future from both of those companies.
Yeah, SGC is actually doing better than Beckett for the record. They're taking more submissions. I just don't like the cases.
Yeah,
That's my
the
two cents.
black tuxedo cases.
Yeah, I mean, they like it. I love it, but I never graded with them. But not no disrespect to them because I think they're doing an amazing job by
Yeah.
they're doing the most important thing, which is getting the product back to the consumer. Because the reality is in this volatile market, and I've had this happen before in the past where I pulled a Jason Dominguez green auto. It was worth $4,000 when I pulled it. By the time I got it back from grading after a 9.5, it was worth $2,000. So it's like, what's the point of grading a card if it's going to take me so long and I lose so much money? And that's something that we all probably deal with is like, should I grade this car? Should I sell it now? And I think a lot of us is like, oh, I should grade it because I'm going to make more money. But not always the case, especially when you're dealing with some of these grading companies and the turnaround is 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. Shoot, 5 days you could lose money in this space. So it's just it's kind of weird. But shout out to SGC being able to be effective there. I do like the CSG cases; they're very clear. I just recently seen them do I think it wasn't a Wilt, it was a Larry Bird Magic Johnson rookie card. Freaking looks really nice, man. Because like their cases is really clear, and I think tags out there too. They're using that technology, the AI technology, where they're like, I don't know. I feel like they're over. I feel like that stuff is just too detailed for me. So we talk about PSA giving no details, and we talk about Tag who has all the details in a bag of chips. They have everything you can think of. But I feel like that's over the head of the average consumer. The average consumer doesn't really care about that. That's why PSA 10 is popular. It's like, it's a PSA 10, it's good. But the backstory is for the collector who understands what those things are. I think these are important for us. I think we need to know. I need to know outside of eye appeal, do you see something that I do not see? You know what I mean? So shout out to yourself being a part of that, Mike. Being one of those guys who can see what we can't see and being able to tell us why this is a better card than another card. So that's how my 2 cents about the future of what grading looks like.
Man, that was like half a dollar of cents, man. I don't know if that was just two.
Man, look, I'm feeling myself today. I got a lot on my mind. I want to get something out. I got my boy Mike on the show. I feel like can't nobody tell me nothing today. And
I was trying to figure out how he got to Culture Collision hat, and I don't, man.
and he actually has the good one. I got the one nobody wants. I only got like one of these left, but he got the good one. He got the blue one. The blue one's fire, man. That blue one's fire. That's one of my favorite hats.
Right on.
But maybe next time.
You know what I do like about SGC though? When they grade numbered cards, the serial number is in the label. That's the number one thing that I like about SGC cards.
All right. So guess what? Our next topic is what is going on in sports. I kind of wanted to add this topic continually because I feel like because sports ties to mostly everything that's going on in the hobby, what goes up, what goes down, why the industry where it's at. And now we're approaching a situation where LeBron James has a chance to win an NBA title. He's only one game away from getting to the Western Conference Finals. How do y'all feel about that?
Go ahead.
Nah, hey man, I've been doing a lot of talking. Mike, you haven't talked, man. I mean, I know Rob is taking over the show. But go ahead, man. I'll let you start us off.
Well, I'm a Golden State fan, so let's start there. Two, if Anthony Davis plays like he's been playing, I think that's a tough team to beat. I mean, LeBron, you already kind of know LeBron's built into the cake. You know, Austin Reeves, he's been playing like an all-star, unbelievable. I had no idea. Just I didn't watch a lot of basketball this year, and watching the playoffs, and I've been blown away with the Lakers' depth. It's really good, and you know, Golden State kind of lives by the three or dies by the three. So I think the Lakers are a little more balanced.
Yeah.
So and they honestly, the way they've been playing, I think they probably will win either the next one or the one. Even though I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. And I think they're worthy representation of the Western Conference. I think they have a shot to go all the way. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm looking at the score right now in the Philadelphia and Boston game. Philadelphia is beating the Celtics by 9 in Boston right now. So it's one of those things where there's still some parity. Miami is looking hotter than ever right now.
Yeah.
I think Jimmy Buckets is just playing out of his mind right now. Hurt, not hurt,
Yeah.
crippled, not being able to get up and down the floor.
Yeah.
You know, even though the Warriors weren't hitting any threes last night, you still felt that they had a chance to win, right? Because they can drain 5 threes in a row.
Everybody has a chance to win, though, Mark.
Nah, you look back and you're like, man, how the hell did that happen, right? So they're always in the game because of that alone. Everybody on their team can hit a three, which is amazing. And then the other series, which is coming back from the dead, is the Denver Phoenix series. Like, honestly, once Phoenix went down 0-2, once Chris Paul went out, you were like, man, hang them up, right? Who said favorites to win the title this year coming out of Phoenix? But now, 2 games in Phoenix, Booker playing out of his mind. Like, dude can't miss. I think at one point he was like 14 for 15, and like we're heading into the fourth quarter, and he hadn't missed a shot almost. So I think if Booker scores 40 and Durant scores 40 every night for the rest of the series, they're going to be really hard to beat, man. So I know I talked a lot about NBA and G. Shout out to G. I know he put a big bet on the Lakers to win. He can't pay me any money on my dirt, right? But he can go put throw some money away on the Lakers. But we'll talk about that later, my guy.
Some more money in a minute. It won't even matter. He betting on the right guys. He betting on the right guys, man. Look.
The only other thing I want to say in this about baseball, right? There's I don't really know what's happening in baseball right now. There's more injuries right now than I've ever seen. And I don't know if it's because some of the guys played in the World Baseball Classic, but these are supposed to be some of the best athletes in the world. But, all the superstars are down, right? Trout is actually more healthy than a lot of the other guys right now, which is weird, right? But my guy in Houston, Altuve, he broke his hand, and I think he's almost all the way back. So I know that's hurt their depth. But you see some of the big name guys are going out with injuries right now, which is which is bringing a lot of parity. Some of the lower level teams, low budget teams are actually winning. And you saw the Tampa Bay Rays had an epic start of the season. So pretty cool all around.
Let's not forget soccer. Holland broke the English Premier League record for goals, which is pretty cool.
There you go.
And in hockey, there was a guy who scored more goals than ever in the history of hockey as well. I don't know his name, but I know we were talking to someone and he referenced that the other day as well. I think it's the up and coming star. I forget what his name is.
It don't matter. That's his name.
Well, he scored goals. That's his new hashtag.
Well, look, I'm gonna tell you, like my boy G says, Lakers winning it all, and I'm definitely in agreement with him. I said they were my dark horse, and they have definitely. If they close out this next game, it's over. I don't know who I'd rather them see, though. I don't know if I'd rather see Phoenix. I think it's easier Phoenix. Denver obviously is a better team, which is why they're obviously, they should win that series. I've been saying this for the longest. Chris Paul stagnates the growth of Devin Booker. He has the ball in his hand most of the time. And if he has the ball in his hand, Devin Booker can't create. And Steph, so I think that I think next year, after they get out, they'll probably they'll lose in six. I think they'll probably I don't know who's winning right now, but they'll probably lose in six. I'm gonna say six, Denver. And I think at that point you're gonna be looking at probably getting a new point guard. Chris Paul can't stay healthy in the playoffs. He's irrelevant. So even if you get to the playoffs, he's so irrelevant it doesn't matter. I just think that they have to let those superstars be great. They need to let Devin Booker. Devin Booker's in his prime. He should be great right now. You can't be great when you got somebody holding the ball, holding them back, and I think that that's what we're going to see, and that's what we're seeing right now. But of course, they need some help, and I think they don't have enough bench and depth to be able to get to the next level, which is why I think the Lakers are going to come out the West. I ain't gonna lie, I was rooting for Giannis to come out the East, but it looks like Miami is going to probably be the tough team to get out. If not, it's gonna be Boston. But
if they can get past Philadelphia ain't no pushover right now.
Yeah,
like I said,
I don't expect them to win it. I think Boston's gonna win the series overall. They just have the better team, in my opinion. Joel Embiid's a crybaby. He's always kind of been one, so I'm gonna just say that.
I've never before this playoffs. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've never seen Joker play ever. But you'll appreciate he moves really slow, but he moves fast, and so it's probably an oxymoron. But that guy is legit. I think he scored like 55 the other day, and it was like, how the hell did that happen?
Mm-hmm.
And he facilitates. Obviously, he's a big guy underneath, and he just bully balls once he gets near the paint. But to really need to watch a couple games with him to really appreciate how good that guy is.
Well, also shout out to the Blackhawks getting the #1 draft pick, and go Blackhawks. That's all I'm gonna say. Hopefully, we'll get a title in the next 5 years. All right, so next topic is I think we kind of have gotten to the point. We're going to talk about some of the things we always talk about, and I think we're going to start off with what the pickups of the weeks are. Mark, you got anything?
Well, I guess I had a couple things. He said I had an overpriced Dirk, man. I got a M&X Dirk out of 5 that came in this week, man. Gerald was trying to get it for like $100. I almost let him have it too. Because he's gonna buy me a steak dinner in Dallas in a couple weeks that he owes me, by the way, because my Astros knocked his White Sox out of the playoffs a couple years. That's how long it's been since I've seen him. So I'm looking forward to that. But I got this really cool Herbert Jones 101 fast break optic. So that came in the other day as well.
Wow. Well, go ahead. Well, I'll let you go. Let you go next.
Who, me?
Yeah. You gotta go down the road.
All right, fair enough. It's not the pickup of the week, but it's a pickup that I got like right before Christmas, and it's the 01 Pacific Christmas ornament cards. The set. It was a cheap set, and I thought, throw a rope on it, a little string, whatever, put it on the Christmas tree. The wife loved it. So it was cool.
Yeah, there you go, man. Gotta have some stuff that you like and enjoy, man. That's what it's about. I picked up this beauty off PWCC last week. It probably was one of the crazy posts of last week. It's the Prism Black 101 Andre the Giant out of WWE. It's a good pickup. So
you know what that's missing, man?
What's that?
A Mike Baker diamond, man. That's what that card is missing.
In Dallas, trust me, in Dallas, I'm going to submit a bunch of cards. I have some vintage stuff that I picked up, and I'm definitely going to submit some stuff with Mike Baker next week. And hopefully I can get one of those electric gold diamonds. If not, I've gotten one in the past. I got lucky once. I didn't get a black, but I got a gold. That's about it.
There we go.
All right. So without further ado, the next portion of the show is hold or sell. Are we there? Hold or sell. So in this portion, Mike, of the show is called hold or sell. We'll give you 2 names. You hold one, you sell one. You can give us a reason if you want to give us a reason, but if not, you hold and you sell. So I don't know if I have all my questions together, so I'm going to see what I can cook up real quick. While you go ahead and go.
I got I probably know the answer to this, but now LeBron or Curry?
Woo!
Ooh. Man, I'd probably I'd sell both.
Fair enough. Right now, I'm buying back again in about 6 months.
Yeah, I think they're both kind of Max. I think there's gonna be some love with LeBron if he keeps continuing on through the playoffs or whatever. I think Curry. I think the one-offs are kind of in that flux too, like you've seen LeBron's, like Roth said earlier in the show with the was it the refractory that you showed earlier, the LeBron?
Yep.
So I mean, everything's kind of dippy, So yeah,
I think
You're gonna sell them both. That wasn't an option, man. You took the easy
yeah.
way out, right? The political way out, but
I probably sell LeBron and hold Curry.
Okay. All right. BGS 10 or PSA 10? Hold one and sell one.
I would hold PSA and sell Beckett.
Woo! That was tough.
see, that's why I don't tell them my questions before this segment, man. Now I got to get another damn question.
Oh, that was yours?
Nah, it's another one. NFL draft or NBA draft?
NFL draft or NBA draft?
NBA draft.
NFL for sure. Oh, NFL hold, NBA sell.
Dang, that was tough. All right, cool. Subs or no subs? Hold or sell one? What's your preference?
Sell subs, hold non-subs.
Tatum or Butler?
Tatum. Hold Butler, sell.
Butler sell, hold Tatum. I get that. All right. Hold or sell, Larry Bird or Steph Curry?
Oh, hold Bird.
Hold Bird. Sell Steph Curry.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Cool. Yep.
That's tough. I figured you was going to say that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I figured you was going to say that one.
I have Stroud or Bryce Young?
I'd probably hold Bryce and sell Stroud.
Oh wow, okay. You believe in Stroud and Bryce, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he's got. Well, from what college is a lot different than pros, So I guess right now, if I was speculating, which I guess this is what it's all about, that's probably where I'd be. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's small, so that's just my take. I was happy when the Texans didn't take him. Didn't have a chance, but still, I was kind of happy there.
All right, WWE or UFC? Hold one, sell one.
Sell sell MMA, hold WWE.
No. WWE or UFC?
Oh, I'm sorry. I would hold WWE and sell UFC.
Okay.
Smart man.
So we'll see what you do here. So AFC South or AFC West?
Ooh. Hold South, sell West.
Okay.
All right. Hold or sell? Damian or Damian Jr.? Hold one, sell one. Which one you doing?
Yeah. Sell Damian, hold Damian Jr.
All right. Hopefully he's not watching. No, it's funny though. No, it's cool. That was my last question. I got to know.
Yeah, that's all. We got 5 and 5, man.
All right.
The one that I took was because you see a lot. You put a diamonds on a lot of cards. It was, would you rather put a diamond on a PSA or the BGS? And obviously, you said PSA. So
yeah. Well, I said PSA with regards to the holder.
Okay, I got you.
So I'll put up a sticker on any of the 4 services we recognize. If the card's there, we want to get the brand out there and want the card to maximize what it can do.
What was the 4th one? I didn't catch the 4th one for you.
It's CSG, SGC, BGS, PSA.
Okay, CSG. Okay, yeah. I mean, they're pretty reputable on the TCG side, so it makes sense.
They are things, man. Like I said, I like their cases. They're probably the cases that I like that are not in the.
I don't like the green and white, so
I'm okay with it. I mean, they try to do they have some black and white too, but I'm okay with it. It's not bad.
I mean, it goes down where it's all about eye appeal to me, right? So you always buy what you like, right? Shiny stuff, right? Refractory stuff is kind of cool. So it's all about eye appeal. I think Gerald, my buddy, he always talks about which case does a card look the best in, right? So you have some reddish cards, right? They match kind of the PSA label. You'll have some golder cards, and I think you sent me this Monopoly Man card that's gold. That's going to look really good if it gems with the gold label. So that's really cool. But I do want to hear, how do we submit cards to MBA?
You can go to the shows that we attend. You can do it on site and get it back that day or the next, or you can go to our website and sign up for free. Enter the stuff on the easy to use invoice, download it, ship it off, and choose the service that you want to use, and get it back pretty shortly. So,
Okay. On your website, do you have a list of shows that you guys are in or attending?
yes, we'll be at the Dallas show next week, and then I think the next show thereafter is going to be the National. So we're pretty much Dallas centric and the National.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And Culture Collision.
You were at Culture Collision the first couple times.
And with
I know.
but it's made things where we want to extend ourselves. So we want to go there. Like if we went to your show, or like we went to Vegas, we did go to Vegas 2 months ago, or whatever, and that was fun. That was more kind of a meet and greet, shaking hands. I think a lot of just getting FaceTime, either sitting up or walking it, is important. Or what we've been doing the last few shows is partnering with PW at their booth and/or another dealer. So this one will be with Andy Maddox Sports Cards at the Dallas show. So kind of mix it up a little bit. Maybe we'll be doing one with you at one of the shows coming up, and hopefully Culture Collision the next one in 2024.
Yeah, and I got a couple cards I'm gonna send through the MBA experience, and we'll definitely show them on the next show, man. But again, it's always a pleasure, Mike, to have you on. Really happy and excited to see how much you've grown and some of the innovations that you've incorporated in your product and your service. I know when you were first coming on, people said a lot of the things that Ralph kind of mentioned before. Why are you going to grade a card that's already graded? And we've seen the added benefits. We've seen the value, not only through our experiences, but I mean, go on PWCC. You'll see the difference that it commands, the presence that it has on the hobby. And people say all the time, no PSA 10 is made the same, right? You'll see it a lot in Jordans, like this PSA 10 and this PSA 10. But this one has better great eye appeal, and I know that your service, not only with vintage, but it really does help kind of differentiate the different eye appeals for those different cards. So definitely kudos to you, continued success, of course, and really excited to see you in Dallas.
Perfect. I appreciate it.
All right, so before we let you go, we try to give our fans and people who are actually watching a chance to ask you some additional questions, if you're okay with that.
Sure.
But before I do that, I want to kind of acknowledge some of the people that are on YouTube first. Shout out to Joel, Ziggy, Naomi, Gerald, and I'm sure some other people I probably missed in the chat, and then some of the people that are actually on Instagram as well. Shout out to Instagram. For the people that are on Instagram, make sure you click and subscribe to my link in the bio and subscribe to YouTube if you want to be a part of the room. We do stream on here, but if you miss us, then you want to catch us on YouTube. Click and subscribe to PrizmGawds TV. I'm sorry, to the show, PrizmGawds TV show. And we're going to have our next show next week with a special guest. Shout out to Wizard Collector on there. Keep the hobby healthy. JD, DFW Car Hunter. A lot of people up in here chatting and conversating and kind of being proactive in everything that's going on. I see Divine Card. And I can't even go through all of this. There's a bunch of people on Instagram.
Yeah, hashtag PC Tuesdays, man.
Oh yeah, PC Tuesdays, baby. That's the other reason why we actually showcase our cards as well. We want to show off the importance of our PC cards, because especially in our space, we become more transactional and a lot less collectors. And so I think it's important for us to showcase the importance of things that we like to collect and what we like. So we appreciate you jumping in, man. And if you have any questions, anybody jump in. Anybody have any questions? No questions? I don't think I have any questions right now. PC Tuesdays. All right, yeah, no questions. Unlike we have any questions. So we really appreciate you, Mike, for jumping in.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'd like to kind of get you on there. Hopefully not wait 2 years, but maybe something happens with NBA. Something crazy happens. I'd love to have you on to talk about anything that's going on.
Anytime, you guys. It was great.
Thank you.
All right.
So we about to head out. Mark, you got something else to say?
Nah, I'm waiting for the outro, baby.
All right, so we appreciate everybody else. Until next time, next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you click and subscribe on YouTube. Thank you.
Bet.